go live. Okay, cool. We're live. So, morning. I have not streamed in a couple months because I've been going through the dark night of the soul
Have you?
in the winter and reinventing myself or really niching out what I want my way forward to be. So, my audience of members and supporters and the people who I just love and call my best friends, I'm super grateful. Kicking this back up now that I've niched out into women's health with women that I think really have handle on proper holistic health. So probably won't see a lot of functional medicine pros here, maybe some, but really people who've decided to look at the environmental factors of why we struggle as women. So why we put on weight, why we can't be productive at work, all these things. And so that's the real women's health. So for my audience, you guys know I spent 10 years in women's health in traditional allopathic setting, doing as a surgery tech, then moving into marketing. So I've seen all the sides, then became a patient myself. I have 6 kids. I have such a big body of work in women's health. And then what I started to realize after getting in the journey out of allopathy through functional medicine, finally into what I call environmental, spiritual, mind, body medicine is that your environment is the real driver of how you interface and what your body's doing. And so you can't out biohack the environment, meaning you can feed a fish the best fish food ever, but if your tank is dirty, that fish will die, you know? And so we have been really exploring that in my practice over the last 2 years with all women. So this brings me to my point. Came across Richlee's coaching business on the Explore page, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have her on my pod because I haven't seen someone do a complete offer about husband challenges and be so honest about it online. And I would put up the odd story about my own personal challenge and go really deep in my membership. And then people would just overwhelmingly be like, I need support here. I need support here. Right. And so when I saw your offer, I was like, okay, have to have a conversation, have to really like ask all the things. So Richlee, I'll let you introduce yourself and then we can have that chat.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I am a mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom, work from home. Obviously, I have 5 kids. I'm a grandma to 2, and we have been married 30 years, and I've been doing my coaching business for a little bit over 3 years now. And due to all of my childhood trauma, my codependency, and everything I went through, I healed it, obviously, with God and Jesus Christ. And I decided, okay, God is making my pain my purpose. And I couldn't be more thrilled and grateful to be helping so many people and talking about the real crap nobody really wants to talk about.
For real. Okay. Love that you boldly said that. I always open up all my calls with saying, okay, do you have a faith? Because if you don't have a faith, you're really going to struggle to get the concepts that I'm teaching here. Like you can't work around a environment and an ecosystem that was designed by God for us. And you can't even grasp how your body works or how you heal if you don't understand that you are that. Like you're made in the image of that. That is a mirror of you. And so we're always talking about that in my practice. And I'm like, I don't need you to be a Christian. I just need you to be a follower of Jesus. Like I need you to understand that there's a very clear-cut playbook in the Bible, which is a couple things like renew the mind, which is what we'll probably get into really deeply with what you probably had to do to overcome your stuff. But okay, so walking this journey, Richlee specifically did and has done and keeps doing a lot of work with her husband, right? You've been married 30 years. I can't believe you're a grandma. You do not look like a grandma.
I became a mom at 18, so there you go.
I became a mom at 20, so I totally understand. I have a 17-year-old. Okay. Sometimes it's like, how am I not even 40 and I almost have an adult child? Like, it's so random, right? But it's so fun. Like, I have 6 kids. I did not realize you had 5 kids. So the more we know, it's like, do all your clients come to you and say, like, they couldn't possibly imagine doing anything for themselves because they're so busy, right?
100%. Big excuses.
Do you find that the more that you've done this work, you have more energy. Like, I seriously think I have more energy than when I had 2 kids.
No, 100%, because I really believe, as you know, when you're doing and following your passion and you're listening to God, it is literally not me. It's actually just him fueling me all day long. Like, I have such a passion. I fall asleep thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. I'm constantly helping my clients. I could create content. You know how some people have a problem creating content? I could easily create 30 reels a day. I have so much to say. I have to remind myself I'm human and just to pace myself one day at a time.
Yeah, you're like, I'm in that flow state. And that flow state feels so different. I mean, it's so interesting because I stopped creating content a little bit over the summer, over the summer last year, just because I had another layer of trauma happen. I had a really chaotic thing I had to deal with my ex-husband. So okay. I feel like I have 2 men in my life that I really walk this journey with, it's interesting, but I talked a lot about that on my stream. It's the way that me and my ex-husband, we parallel parent, we don't co-parent, we could not be further from opposite, right? And it's almost like the Grand Canyon, and we have these 2 kids, and people always say, like, how have you done it for so long, right? How did it work out? And it is literally resolving codependency, opting out of one fight at a time, laying my control issues completely to the side, and just knowing that if I align my life, which is the only thing that I can control, like all the things that I worried about, like, did my ex properly watch the kids? Would they encounter strangers that weren't so great? Like, all the things that I worried about based on habits that I knew when we were married. I never say I know them now because I don't know him as a person. All the things that I've resolved as that in my own life have not been a factor for my kids. They have not been stressed in that area. And I always say that this is like the uncomfortable place where you go, like, that's where God does his best work is when you're not in the way, And so I often tell my clients, I'm like, yeah, you're stepping in the way with that supplement, or you're stepping in the way with this. Like, I believe in an outside force opening a pathway while you get that clarity, for sure. Like, I wouldn't be in holistic health if I didn't, but I don't do supplements in my practice. I do all frequency medicine. And the sooner you can align your whole mind, body to the truth of God, like what actually God says, how to live, how to be, what the plan is, the quicker you get better.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Completely.
So I was reading tons of your content, poring over your content. So you obviously had, I'll let you tell everybody, you obviously had a marriage that wasn't in a great place.
Right. You can say that now.
And I'll let you expand on that whole story. But so tell us more about that. Like, what is the mission? Where did it all get started?
Okay, do you want me to kind of give you a story, like a fast one from beginning to where we are now?
Give me the context. Yeah.
Okay, so we've known each other since 4th grade. We started dating junior year.
Wow.
Got pregnant. Yeah, crazy, right? Long time.
That's cool.
What'd you say?
That's cool.
I know, right? So got pregnant, and I didn't know it. I was pregnant at my graduation, my high school graduation, and I'm Mormon. He wasn't. So he decided he wanted to take the missionary lessons and join. I knew in my heart he was doing it just to pacify me, but I was so immature. I was so disconnected from who I authentically was, that, I knew my gut was telling me, you don't want him to do this. Like, I was already starting the dysfunctional people pleasing between both of us. We both had a trauma bond. We got, so I delivered at 18. We got married at 19. And then I was a codependent to my father. He is a narcissist. He's an alcoholic. He's a drug addict. I recently cut him out of my life a few years ago. And that was one of the things I never thought I would do. But again, with Christ, I was able to do it because I learned through my healing that keeping energy vampires in your life make you sick. And I could get into that later, but I had cancer several times and so many things happen, infections. And it's because I was managing, other people's energy and emotions. So long story short, I took the codependency into my marriage. My husband was miserable. He just kept gaining weight, being lazy, not working out. He was almost 400 pounds, depressed. Obviously, he's a very hard worker. So the one solid thing that probably people ask me, even though you were not healed and you were a mess yourself, what made you stay? To be honest, if there wasn't probably any kind of money coming in or anything, I I probably would have had to leave out of desperation instead of confidence, instead of my God-given worthiness, you know? So I stayed. People ask me all the time. I get messages weekly. Why did you stay for so long? And I say, because what I coach on is I had a fractured identity and I needed to heal it. And I stayed because I didn't know what I know now. I'm not the person I am now, you know, back then. And so I put up with the gaslighting, the manipulation, the laziness, the emotional unavailability. I mean, when I say I did everything, I did everything. He brought home a paycheck and then I did everything. So I was in my masculine 24/7. That's why I was sick all the time. I was the rock, you know, for my dad and for him. And yeah, so long story short, in 2000, a little 5.5 years ago, in 2020, the favorite year everybody loves. I'm just kidding. Spring, yeah.
Catalyst.
That spring is when I was like, I hit rock bottom. There's no way to say it. I just literally told God in my head when I saw my husband sitting on the couch. He would always put his hood on when he came home from work because he would like metaphorically check the F out and just stare at the TV. I just remember looking at him, and I just remember finally, instead of listening to the devil, which was constantly telling me, try harder, be better, you're not enough, I heard God say, is this really what you think I want for you? Is this really what you want? And that was when I told him in my head, no, I'm done. But I was scared because I thought, he's the breadwinner. Where am I going to go? Where am I going to live? And I didn't want divorce. I always promised myself, because my parents put me and my sisters through such a terrible divorce, and because of my dad's addiction. So let's be real, that's why it was even worse. You know how you just make that dysfunctional promise to yourself? So it's like you're trying to keep the promise of, I'll never divorce, I'll never divorce. Plus, being raised Mormon, you're conditioned. The culture is so dysfunctional. I love Jesus and the gospel. The culture is dysfunctional. You're just told basically you're sinning. Besides premarital sex, you're basically told if you get divorced, you're going to hell. Not in those words, but that's the message. So you know, not supposed to do it. I'm supposed to be married for time and eternity. I'm supposed to endure to the end. You know, all those things. So I had all these thoughts in the back of my mind. And then finally, because of all the sickness, like you said, because of all the unalignment, I just decided, I can't do this anymore. So I told God, and then he worked with me. I just surrendered every day. It's kind of like what you mentioned earlier, Chelsea, where you give up control, you let go. I had to tell him, I let go. I can't change him. Nothing I've done has helped him lose weight or be happy or step into his God-given potential. I finally just told God, no pep talks, no scriptures I send him, nothing's working. So it was almost like he said to me, thank you for getting out of my way. Now I can work on him and you. It was like once I released the control.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is so pivotal. That's what if I could get every single woman in my entire sphere to understand.
Yes,
and listen, I understand, like a lot of women have tied in major finances, you know, their whole credit score. I mean, I hear it all, right? Like I know women who have like financed their husband's jobs into debt and their name, you know, like that they've had their business they've been building for 8 years, that's going to go away. Like I get it. Like when people say to me like you must not get it, I'm like I get it. Like I had 2 kids with an extreme narcissist who never wanted to speak to me, who built ecosystems around me. I had 2 addict parents as well. So it's like I think it's so interesting how so we're born into these family lines, and I always teach this. It's always an opportunity. People who aren't following God or the version of God that's religious nature, like Mormonism, Catholicism, all that stuff, they're missing out on the one key thing that I think the church never talks about. We're so happy to talk about the death, the resurrection, the punishment, but we're never talking about the God is always working for the good. That God doesn't become Satan, okay? Like Satan is Satan and God is God. So it's like we have this like weird blurry line where it's like we get into victimhood, and so a lot of people at that point just die, for lack of a better word. I want to go back because I heard you say, did you say you have had cancer several times?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to touch on that. So, because in my practice, women think the C word is just like the death sentence, right? And my big mission, I knew God had called me to pharmakia years ago. Like I was like, okay. And I said no. And I kept the peace. I was like you. And the craziest thing about it is when very similar to you, we kept having babies. We had this beautiful family from the outside. Like it was great. But at the same time, I just felt like there's no way I could survive without this person. Right. And then I finally I had an autoimmune disorder right after delivering my son. And it was interesting because I remember like it was yesterday, because now that I do mind body medicine, I was trying to trace back like the moment at which I forgot who I was, because what autoimmune disease really is you don't recognize yourself anymore. Okay. People don't get it out there. It's God always knows who you are. God made a version of you. There's math of the universe. God put you here. God put you into your family line. None of that was a mistake. Okay.
Yeah.
You can be mad about it. You can be stressed about it. You can get off your path about it. And what happens is that the body is always trying to course correct you back to that reality of truth, God's truth. So you start to build this version of yourself. And I always joke about how many versions I tried on. Like, I'm like, I tried to be like Jackson Bible study mom. Like, I tried to be like corporate masculine mom. Like, it's like, I know all my identities. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and ironically, like, my mom had a multiple personality disorder from a fractured soul. And so I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, why are we doing it? And so then, but what people don't understand too is that there's always a duality in where you are. So God's also always writing your reconciliation story. You're usually just arguing about it, right? So it's pretty interesting with my husband. He, when I developed my autoimmune thing, right after having our child, it was like, there was a very clear-cut stressor between us where he said, I said, I'm not playing small anymore. The things that your mom does between us stresses me out. And finally found that voice. And he said, it would be easier if I just divorce you. All it took was that one line. He didn't mean it. He didn't file for divorce. It just took that one thing in my spirit for me to be like, oh my, like, I will die at that. You know what I mean? Like, and so hit this autoimmune, did all this work, and then thought, wow, like, I really do not ever be myself, you know, like, where is that version of myself that I lost along the way trying to fit into this ecosystem? You know, once again, it's like, why are you trying to fit into this family that you think is the perfect family instead of being you and your family? And so it sounds really crazy to most people, but I set out on a journey of that. And I think we want to make it look like it's like, just pray about it and it's fun, when in reality, it's actually excruciating.
Exactly. It's actually so hard and grueling, the whole thing.
It's so hard. It's such a hard choice to make. And it's also like, I realized in that who God really was. Like, God isn't a rom-com, or like, it's like a neutrality of love that is a constant, right? And so even like in my marriage, I'm like, okay, if we can weigh up things as fascinated, like if we truly weren't judging, if we were just neutral about this,
right,
what would be the truth? And so we got into this whole situation, and now finally we can sort of have these really honest conversations where it's like different, where it's like, okay, I see my behavior here, not where, and I was like you, I had everything held together in my house, breadwinner, church goer, like mom, just everything I was handling it all. And it was such a burnout when it hit, like such an out of balance role. And my friends thought I was crazy, because the first thing that I was told to fix by my naturopath was getting, like, first choice deciding if I wanted my marriage. So I love that you said that, because you know, people were, so many camps of women were like, just leave. This is crazy. Like, this is abuse. My husband never was like hitting me, but emotionally he was unavailable all this time. They're like, this is insane. And I was like also on a board of a domestic violence organization. Like, I'm like, I knew this, right? Like, I grew up in this. So you look at it and you're like, all right. But I also knew that God wouldn't have really put us two together and written such a great story if it wasn't worth taking a pause at that moment. And what I realized in pharma, and how pharma gets everybody separated from God, because that's the only way to sell drugs, is when they don't give you that pause. They tell you, you have cancer. What are we doing about it? Like, let's get into surgery tomorrow. Like, let's get chemo tomorrow. Like, don't you want to raise your kids? Like, I had an open heart surgery in 2017, which catalysted like my whole business. And That was what was sold to me. It was like, we found something on Echo. In 6 weeks, you need to get open heart surgery. Do you want to die? Like, it was straight to death. And I was like, whoa, like I was just running a marathon 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like, how do we go from like our body's doing a great work to suddenly we're dying? Like that is and so what you do is you don't have a minute to breathe, pray, meditate. You start the chaos, the convolution just like starts in, and suddenly you're in a spiral, and you're clinging on to like what's real, what's not real. And so in that spiral is where we usually get the best healing, but the spiral is so challenging.
Absolutely. It is, because it's like fear. It's the enemy. And he wants to get your fear in your mind just going like a snowball rolling down the hill.
Okay, so you mentioned you were Mormon. So because I'm obsessed with people who have been in religious nature and then come back to Jesus, I want to know, because I know there's several people who just can't let that church hurt go, like, or whatever.
Right.
How did that look or go for you?
Well, I'm still active. I go to church every Sunday, but I have a different mindset than, I would say, I don't know. I mean, I'm not God, and I'm not in the head of everybody. So I don't want to act like I know what people in my congregation are thinking, but I feel like I'm different than everybody there.
I feel like thing. Yeah, that's good. Like that you're not just going to judge the whole congregation.
No, that's what I'm saying. But like when I go, I'm going for one purpose now. Before, my whole life, I was going to check boxes, to make my mom happy, to look good, to make sure you're showing up to church every Sunday, to make sure you're going to class. But now, it used to be 3 hours long. They shortened it a few years ago. Now it's 2 hours every Sunday. But I don't go to 2 hours. I just go to the first hour, which is sacrament. So that already right there is me being rebellious, because I only go to the first hour and I'm not active in their eyes when I say the church, because I refuse to go to the second hour. But it's not refusal like I'm throwing a tantrum. I just don't go because I feel like the whole purpose of going to any church that you choose to go to is to pay respect to Jesus. So I'm taking the bread and I'm taking the water and I'm praying for me and I'm there for Jesus and I'm thanking Jesus for dying for me. So when the sacrament is over and I've heard a couple talks and I leave, I feel good in my heart to know that I'm done. That was the whole purpose. But if you were to think about, like, if there's a list, if you knew how to be active in the Mormon church, they don't consider me active. I don't have a calling. I don't go to the second hour. I say no to things all the time. They think I'm weird. They want me to like come to a tithe meeting. I say no. They want me to do, commit to doing a calling during the week. And I say no, my husband's completely inactive. I'm not going to commit. And they'll kind of say, oh, you don't want to serve. And I'm like, nope, never said I don't want to serve. Just not going to commit to something and then back out on my husband or my family or soccer plans because I'm going to be showing up to the church, bringing a salad to somebody when I could be, and of course I'm being a smart mouth because I'm just funny, or I could be at soccer with my kids or my family. So I started having, as I was standing up to my dad, as I was standing up to my husband, I started standing up to my church, meaning like, I'm not going to say yes just to people please you, to make you happy, or to check a box.
Yeah, I get it. I'm like, just that choice. That's so interesting. I mean, people don't understand that you can make that choice. Like people don't get it. Hold on just 1 second. My kids are like texting and they're like,
you gotta check in with them. Totally get it.
No, they're upstairs. I'm just like, don't interrupt during a podcast. But they're crazy.
I get that completely.
They're just like,
it's just the way it is.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I teach people that choice with pharma, right? Like if your doctor writes you a prescription, you don't need to fill it. You don't have to. You can. Like it's up to you. Or you know what? Like if you want to unpack from something, like in any kind of relationship that is parasitic in nature, which I will say humans trying to govern other humans and tell another human what Jesus is parasitic in nature. So like I totally believe in the community of church, I am sold out to Jesus, God, the frequency, all of it. I'm like, it's the way we orchestrate life, like I am 100% into that. Anytime, but the way you have to move through it is exactly the way you're moving through it. Like it's like it's got to happen, right? It's like we've got to be able to get ourselves so not codependent that we can enter into people who are either like-minded, not like-minded, whatever, and not feel so responsible for participating if it doesn't serve our highest good, and not care about the judgment, right? Or the identity of it. Like I always joke around because I love different friend groups, and I just happen to be, I think because I teach all about how like stripping down idols and all that stuff. Like I've just always been the type of person that can be very nomadic and whatever. And I enjoy change. And you see these people who they don't change 20 years. You know what I mean? Like generationally, they're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. And I used to get so grieved about it. And now I'm like, oh, like that's by design. Like God just has that calling on my life, And so I'm always in like all these different friend groups and all these different things. And it makes me laugh because it makes me laugh on what we will do to compromise and fit in. Like because I'm always looking at myself. I don't care what everybody else is doing. Like you can raise your kids however you want. I'm done trying to energetically judge you. You can, you know what I mean? You can drink every night. I don't care. Like I used to be out there screaming like, this is the way of doing holistic health. And now I'm like, this has fruit here, but if you don't want it, like, and you're not ready, no one can convince you of that. Right. And so we'll probably talk a little bit about that with you and where your marriage got to, but it's so funny because I recently got like this new friend group, and it's not new. All of one of my kids is a competitive dancer. So all of us are really tight in that world. And it's funny because like, I don't drink. I haven't drank for like 5-6 years, whatever. I just don't personally enjoy it anymore at all. Like once I got reborn and got on the Jesus path, I just kind of was like, that doesn't make me feel good. It breeds dehydration. I don't care. Like I'm not shaming anybody. It just wasn't my thing.
Right.
And it's so interesting how when you realign, you actually fall off the frequency of something. Like I'm like, I don't care to be in that. But it's so funny because when I hang out with them, I drink. Like I don't drink like a lot, right? But it's like so funny how you'll and I always joke around with my like inside membership too. This isn't me saying those people are bad for drinking, and this is me also participating, but I'm just like, it's funny, even little micro compromises to ourselves that actually end up fun, but you're just like, is this really me? Like I just don't even enjoy this that much. You know what I mean? Like, or like maybe I enjoy it. Like once in a blue moon, I might want to have a glass of wine with my husband, but it's not like today I had to do that, And there's so much in that, in the nuance of how we interface. Like when people ask you why you stayed in your marriage, and when people ask me, I'm interested to expand more on that. I love finding nuance. Like I'm like addicted to seeing what God has. Like if I'm out of the way now, with health, with my body, with my family, with abundance, like I'm just into that. And so I kind of like am addicted to the life adventure now. I'm no longer looking at it as if like I'm being punished. It's just kind of like a neutral for now. And so I just want so you just started that journey in 2020 of undoing that codependence. Do you feel like you guys are through it, or is it still like a work in progress?
Good question. So I would say we're over most of it. I guess if I had to do a percentage, I'd say we're 80%.
Yeah, cool.
And I kind of feel like it's always going to be that way because, like you said, I love change. I love self-awareness. I love looking at myself and always being like, where does God want me to change? What do I need to do better? And so I kind of feel like 80% meaning like we are over individually, like our traumatic childhood, the things, the tendencies that, we're able to look at each other, like you said, and go, okay, you kind of just were trying to gaslight me. And then we can say that now. And then he'll be like, okay, what did I say? Like there's no more defensiveness anymore. So all of that is gone. But I feel like it's always good, for lack of a better word, to have 20% left because there's constant improvement, right? We're never perfect. Our whole entire life is supposed to be improving. But it was like you said earlier, it was hell lots of times. Like when I laugh when I have some people message me going, so give me a ballpark. How long do you think if I bought your program and I did this, it would take me? And I say, girl, I started over 5 years ago, and I've been working on it ever since. I'm like, there's no time frame. Obviously, I had instant results, as in energetically. I showed up different. I talked to him different. I started letting him know, you have seen me be a doormat. And he was looking at me like I was crazy because I was a doormat. And I said, but I'm no longer doing that. I will not tolerate ABC, XYZ. You're going to see me keep my word. And he kind of just looked at me like, yeah, right. And of course he did, because he had seen me just be wishy-washy. But my point is like, I noticed energetically, I tell my women, you can have those kind of changes right away, but it's the grind every day. Every time he's pushing your buttons, every time he's having a tantrum, every time he's still binge drinking, I had to remind myself, with or without him, with or without him. It was just me and God. It was like I finally decentered the man and centered God, even though I always knew I was a daughter of God. I grew up religious. Isn't that so funny? But like I still was centering men, my father, my husband, my father, my husband. And once I cut that energetic cord and I focused on God, I just kept telling myself, with or without him. But that detachment, I believe, is not only what made me healthier emotionally and spiritually, but I don't know, again, I'm not God or my husband, but I'm assuming it really helped God be able to help my husband, because I was no longer, like you said, going, it's not good to binge drink. It really isn't good to be overweight. You really shouldn't be doing that. You should lead our family spiritually. I was constantly trying to help him, but really, I was feeling his free agency, and God wants us to have free agency.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, I could speak on that. So when I got out of my narcissistic, insane marriage and ended up like meeting my husband, who I have now, who we've been married for almost 11 years, I was like the Jesus girl. Like I was like super into it. Like I was like, we are going to church every week. Like this is what we did not do. Like I know I wanted to find that authentic relationship with God and with Jesus and what it really was for me. But I thought like my entire family had to like be on board, and I had all these religious nature ideas like, oh, we can't be unequally yoked, like da 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 da. So all this stuff. And it couldn't have been further from like the truth, because it's like it's truth, but there's nuance in the truth. So it's weird to tell people who really literally read the Bible, but when you realize that an entire masculine group of men wrote that, they left out the feminine side of it on purpose. It's like, okay, you look at it, but you have to bring the wisdom back into it. And so what was so interesting about, I was the same way. I was like, if we can just get into a Bible study together, if we can just do this, if we can just do that. Like I was like literally, and I've always been very, I'm a Life Path 11. I'm super intuitive. I knew that was my gift. So, and I was called to healing. So I would be like, watch this. Like, I'm going to heal my migraines with Jesus. Like, and did
amazing.
Oh, like, yes. I mean, I teach the women, and anyone can access that. You do not have to be intuitive. I think we just need that person to have done it that we can glean that from, because it isn't like I'm the gatekeeper for that. Anyone can access that. But the way that I did that was figuring out like, okay, this is a migraine. It is an expression. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not me. It's not God gave me a migraine, right? It's not a test. It's not a punishment. It's not an exam. It's not the systems of this world. It's outside of me if I want it to be. And so what was interesting is, one, I just started like waking up and not looking for one. It's like you seek what you find, right? It was like, then I learned that maybe my hormones don't have to be broken. And then I quite literally just decided to pull it outside myself into my biofield so it wasn't in me. So like I would get a migraine and picture it as like a dark entity in the corner of the room. And I would just kind of look at it and be like, we don't have to be connected. Like, what are you? You know, like, and truly, quite literally, it just got further and further away from me. And I haven't ever had one since, like 7 years, and I haven't had a migraine. And it wasn't charismatic. It wasn't all this laying of hand. Like it was seriously just like me realizing that like darkness is only yours if you consent to it and pull it in. And so I kind of like changed that. But what was interesting was, I mean, I would compete with my husband spiritually. Like I would just be like an insane person, you know, like
I would too.
He was emotionally unavailable and not into it. So, but what is so crazy that people don't realize, and this is why I still don't really advocate for like necessarily throwing marriages away. Like we're not talking about domestic violence, but I'm talking about, you know, there's a level of there's a level of safety that is given to you with another person. And so and if you have kids with this person, you have that dynamic. Like once kids are in the mix, it's probably like your soul time makes more sense. Like that's kind of how the language where I can put it. But anyway, he would, I really realized I used to hate that he was never going to darken the church's door, that he was like obsessed with exploring anything other than, Jesus. But you know what's really fascinating is he brought truth into my life that I did not get in religious nature.
Yeah.
Like, and that was what really convicted me. Like, I was like, okay, like he brought truth. Like he broke me out of religious nature once I stopped distracting myself with the judgment of what he was doing.
Yes, so, I just got chills. Yes.
Right? Like once I was not like, like you're looking at all that woo-woo shit, like blah, blah, blah. Once I was out of that role of God and he and not in that distraction, I finally had sort of like, okay, like maybe God also likes him too. You know what I mean?
Right? Like, oh, maybe he loves him even though he's 400 pounds and a binge drinker. Maybe he still loves him and wants to help him.
Right? It's like, it did. It opened the door. Like, I totally get that. I was like, and I always think of things in terms of distractions now. Like, I'm like, okay, when I'm trying to get really codependent, because like, you can really define in your marriage, like how you connect. Like one thing that we're trying to reset now, because we started in 2020 as well. I think 2020 was like everyone's dark night of the soul because of the isolation, which people in my practice, I always tell people, I'm like duality, yin yang, dark light. There is no separation. Okay. Like the body is on a 24-hour circadian rhythm. You are on a cyclical cycle of dark and light, the death and the resurrection. There are always going to be both. Stop trying to run away from dark and be afraid of it or detox it or stress about it, because without it, you cannot heal. Like you can't. And so it's not punishment from God or God becomes dark. It's called an actual design where you where you face stuff. And so what was so fascinating is that in 2020, when everybody was wanting to go backwards to something before, I was like, what are we moving into and what is this doing for us to go forward? And then all the isolation just like blew the cracks in our marriage, like when we both lost our jobs, like all that, suddenly it was like, whoa, we've got a problem.
Yes, right? Exactly. It's like everyone was forced to look in the mirror.
For real. It's like suddenly you couldn't run to Target, this is me, and have like a shopping addiction. You had to like, actually raise your kids. And you're like, oh, well, why do I want to do that all the time? You know what I mean? It's so crazy how those opportunities serve themselves up. I always say COVID was really for the church. COVID was, let's blow apart the building presence, the nature, the to-do list, the rituals, all that stuff. And let's just get down to, will people do Jesus in their temple of their bodies? And most of them didn't. So it's like, it's a really interesting concept. And I'm in church too. Like I go to church. People think because I'm so outspoken about it that I don't believe in church, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I just no longer, like you, go for finding the little gang of identity that I have to be like, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not there to try to fit in or make you like me. I'm literally there for Christ.
Totally. So you said something really pivotal, shifting the focus, pulling your husband and your dad out of the God position in your life and putting God there. It's so interesting because a lot of people would not think that's the case, but, and I know people can work with you to go deeper, but how did you actually do that day to day?
Yeah, great question. And this is where it is so hard for me to answer those messages when they come in and women are like, how do I do this? And like, tell me quickly. And like, how long does it take? And the real work, as you know, with any deep change energetically and spiritually and in your heart is so emotional. And so you have to release so much. So how did I do it? Every single day for, I don't know how long, months and years. It was literally, I feel like, because I have so much addiction in my family. It reminds me of healing from addiction, where one day at a time, I could not look forward because it was so hard. It was like, I just would wake up and think, just for today, one day, I'm going to not obsess over what my husband's doing. So
Yeah.
it was a thought process of the way I'm going to decenter men is I'm going to have to stop worrying about if my dad is homeless and drunk and sleeping on a park bench. And I'm going to have to stop worrying about if my husband dies. He was being warned from the doctors that he's going to be diabetic. They were warning him that he kept getting bigger and bigger. And I would panic thinking, you're not going to be here for our kids and stuff. So that feeling I had to literally give to Jesus. I had to have self-talks with myself and say, okay, Jesus, you already know everything I'm going through. You already felt all this pain, this fear, this panic that I have that my husband might die young or whatever. I thought he knows how I feel. So I had to like release it. Everything is energetic, right? Everything was in my head through God. And so I would just one day at a time say, today, I'm not going to worry about what he's doing. And I'm not going to feel like his mother. So there were so many times my husband, obviously I acted like his mother without realizing it. And he was my child without realizing it. And so he'd be like texting me, I forgot my water bottle. I left my wallet at home. I didn't do this. I forgot the baseballs for practice. Can you come to my work? Can you drop it off? So one day I just decided, because I heard God tell me, stop being his secretary. You're not his assistant. So I texted him. And so these are examples. Like when people say, how did I do this? I would just be like, I'm not rude. I'm just texting going, I'm no longer your assistant. And he'd be like, you're not my assistant. And I'm like, I've been showing up as your assistant. So I'm taking responsibility. I'm not blaming him. I'm going, I have been acting as your assistant. I will no longer bring you your wallet, your water bottle, and baseballs, and all the things that you forget. I believe in you. You're a grown man. And I believe you'll work it out and everything will be fine because you know that I'm managing the kids and the dogs and everything else. So in my business. So like I had to put responsibility on him, stop being the mother. So I know that's not like the step-by-step process. And you're right. People can work with me one-on-one or buy my program. But the point is, it's really the answer is every day you have to commit to yourself. Choose yourself. Don't choose the man. Decenter the man, center God, and say, how am I going to only choose myself today? So I'd get on the treadmill for 20 minutes instead of like doing his laundry. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. When people come to my practice, they want like the protocol from pharma, right? They want like 28 supplements or 40 powders or whatever. Yeah. And I'm always like, what if I told you it was like one prayer, one choice at a time? And they're like, well, I don't want that because that sounds too easy. I'm like, what if I told you life is easy? Like, what if I told you it is easy? Like you've been over complicating it. Like it's funny. So we have a very similar version. So I first started with spirituality because my husband was raised in like cult-like behavior where like he was never right in the spirit. Like everything they did was wrong. And his mom was the right authority, like the prophet. So it was like, it was awful. It was terrible. It's a terrible, well, look, I don't judge them, whatever. It's just, it was a way to grow up where you very much energetically inhibit your kids' decision-making processes, especially as a male. And so my husband would do this fun thing where he's out there not going to church, doing all this stuff. And I'm out here doing all the things. And he would like, I'm the entrepreneur, the visionary, like the action. And so he would like energetically like gas himself up with me. Right. And I was like mommy relaying everything to everybody. And so that personal responsibility key is amazing. But I was like very similar to you. We'd be winding down at night, be giving me a foot rub, and he'd be like, so like, how was the sermon today? Like what they talk about and like, blah, blah, blah. And then I would give him like the whole play-by-play with my spin on how it like was for him. And he really should have been there.
I did that so many times. Yes.
And it was interesting. And one day I finally just said, I'm not your Jesus. If you want it, go. Like, if you want to hear Brett, it's online. Like, that was the church we went to at the time. I was like, and he would be like, can you send me a link? And I didn't realize how micro it was, like how deep it went. I'm like, no, like you can get on a website, like you're good. And he would be like, but that's your skill set. I'm like, right. I work for Google, but you know what? Like that's basic as fuck. Like we're not asking you to build like
exactly.
I'm like, I'm not asking you to go build ad plans for my clients. Like we're talking about finding a link, right? Like
and I believe in you as a grown-up man. I believe that you can figure this out.
I love that from you because that's way better than when I started. Like I was very like still defeating and like this annoyed me. And so now it's so funny. Like now I'm like, you are more than capable, right? Like you're capable, like make that choice. but then, the dynamic sometimes shifts into where, like, I was like, I don't want to be in a control relationship. I want to be in a partnership. I want to be in something where we have, like, both our gifts are super acknowledged,
Right.
and one and the other can give and take. And we're still kind of figuring out what that looks like in total. Like, and it's crazy. We work together. We're both self-employed. Like, there are stressors that we have to just remind ourselves. I remind myself, I'm like, I actively chose this, right? Like, I chose this. I want to be in it. And I'm like you. I literally, every single day when I wake up, I teach my clients, I'm like, you want to improve your health? Every single day when you wake up, pray and ask Holy Spirit to show you what you need to see today, and make the rest none of your business. Like, make that your solid prayer.
Oh, wow. I've never heard it
And I'm
said
like, that means every influencer, every guru, a piece of new, like, you wouldn't believe how silent my life has gotten. But I told my clients, I'm like, if you need to see something, it will present itself. Watch. Like, if you need something on your radar, it will present itself. I used to be so into the screaming about pharma and the truther stuff in 2020 and all this stuff. I thought I had to go look up every piece of information. But why? To stay in control.
Yes. Yep.
Like, to create safety that I did not have, growing up. And so, or the perception of safety. But what I realized is that there is no safety. Everything is always up in the air. Like, I have friends who they're in jobs and they're getting fired. I have, I look at my job and it can change. Like, I thought I was in a very safe marketing agency, and we lost all of our clients because who could have predicted COVID? Like, there really is no safety. And that's by design. Like, if we could just figure it all out and have this perfectly packaged life, I started to look at people who had that and study how sick they were. Like, they were sick. I'm like, you guys are on the most medication. You're in the most stress. Like, it's not about the amount you have or how rich or whatever you are. But even though I believe in that abundance, it's like, it's about your carefully curating all of your detail points, right? Like, and it was like, that's kind of how it was in my marriage. Like, I'm like, I thought to build a safe marriage, you just curate every part of it and it works out.
Right.
Yeah, but you built out of trauma from 2 addict parents, which I'm now grateful for, because in some ways, like, their level of chaos, it was fun for them. Like, I don't have a better way to say it. They enjoy it.
Right. No, I know. And I am such a big believer, like you mentioned earlier, about how we are in the families. I personally believe we chose the family to come to before we came here. Okay, yeah. And so now, isn't this funny, right? What a coincidence that this is my job now. It's not. God knew you need this father who will not be there for you. You're going to outsource your power, crave his validation, and then you're going to marry somebody and crave his validation. And God knew, okay, Rochelle, you need to center these men to realize you never needed them. You never needed them. And just sometimes I'll get these self-righteous women coming at me with biblical quotes in my messages. Most of my audience is so awesome and nice, but I do have a few that will message me and go, you're anti-Bible and this, look at the scripture, and God hates divorce and all these things. And I'm going, no, I really think God hates his daughters being abused and disrespected. And I think God is up there saying, how dare you treat my daughter like that? And I think he's speaking to me saying, don't let your dad walk all over you. Don't let your husband walk all over you, and start taking your power back. And whether I ended up staying married or not, which I did, obviously, as you know, God wasn't trying to necessarily, in my opinion, I don't think his goal was, I got to save this marriage. I think he was loving us individually, his children, my husband and me, right? Yes. He was like, I want to make her whole and I want to make him whole, and hopefully they can heal together, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 100%. I'm like you. I believe we predate this realm. Like, I don't know all the, I would never make a finality about what all that looks like, because I'm not there yet, because I'm like this eternal studier of that. But I know for sure we predate it. I'm not sure if reincarnation and all that stuff is right, which Christians, my whole audience is like Christian. They'll be like, oh my God, you said the R word. You're like, we're never talking to you again. I'm like, listen, there's too many crazy things that have happened for me to discount or throw the baby out with the bathwater on that one. But I do seriously believe And I now teach my clients, I'm like, hey, if you are listening to all the gurus that want you to stay traumatized, you are going to fail. Like, if you cannot get grateful for the family line that you were born into with all the pain as well, you will not see the healing. Like and you made a very good point. One day at a time, one moment at a time, right? Like I cut contact with my mom 9 years ago.
Okay.
I didn't intend to do it for 9 years. So people ask me that all the time. I'm like, you know what? Today, if she came to me and repented, not because I'm God, but repented for genuinely was like, I've had a personality change and now I'm safe, I would go to dinner with her tonight. Swear to God. If she showed up at my door, changed, there would be no hesitation. But that change has not happened. Right? Like it's like my needs were clearly defined. She decided not to meet them. And where we got was a boundary. And I teach my clients it just like that. I'm like, that's like taking the emotion out of it, right? That's just where you got. I'm like, I didn't play God or go like, I will give you 4 months or I will give you this. It wasn't like that. It was like, today, if you're going to continue to testify against me for my kids with my ex-husband, we're not going to talk tomorrow. Like, it was like, you know, it's very basic. And, you know, she can't even fathom that in her mind that that's wrong. Like, so when you have a bunch of personalities or you're an addict, you just say what you need at the time, right? But I'm like, it doesn't even matter if it's on a piece of paper. Like, I'm like she's like, I'm never going to do that. Obviously, I'm like, your deposition for 3 months. Like, you're going to figure that out or you're going to get arrested. You know, that's how much I was like in her mommy role, you know?
Right.
And then I was like, this bitch is a grown woman. She can get arrested, lose her teaching job. I don't care. Like, I'm like, I'm done with this, right? Like, I have 2 little kids.
Responsibility.
Yes. And Christians who want you in that, in the way of like the rom-coms, they're all Hollywood marketed. Like, that's not how that works. Like, the way it works is you say to God, I'm not going to play God anymore. I'm just going to be the neutral party here, right? And then God does whatever God wants to do. And that's the deal. Like, and when you actually get in that position, you actually get God. You don't get the chaos. Like, that's what people don't realize. And I'm kind of like you with health. People will come in my DMs, and the overwhelming thing that they will be offended or triggered about is they will say, well, how do you explain a random death, right? Like, my kid died. I obviously didn't cause that. I will say, absolutely, you did not cause that. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying, I don't know the whole story. I don't know the level of alignment in your life to even make that judgment or that. But what I've realized as somebody that has 2 kids and divorced a dangerous narcissist in a dangerous family line when they were 2 and 4 is that when you align yourself with God, random stuff happens for you that is spirit supernatural protection. Like, so when I forgave my ex, and I say forgave, not in the head, but like legitimately was like, I'm not bringing you forward today. Like, whatever you do, I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm just going to do me. And that was one of the main reasons how I think, and I always talk about the gift of my custody agreement, because when you're parenting where your kids are going somewhere every other day, well, every 2 days and a full weekends, and you can't literally contact that person and say anything about what to do. You learn real fast how to be out of control.
Like, yes, I bet. Oh my God.
Yeah. And you don't learn it. You have to be very like the one thing that a bunch of Christian ladies used to say to me, you know, talking about how to set boundaries with your husband, was they would, you know, come up to me in church and say this line, I don't know how you do it. It must be so sad. It must be so this. I finally just said, don't say that to me. Like, you know what? Like, I appreciate it. I appreciate the concern. And then I would say how I do it is when my kids are with my ex, I don't think about them. And that was just like, you're evil, right? Like, you're the mom. These are your kids. I'm like, no, like, at this point in time, they're not in my present. I know that's a hard place to get to. Like, I get it. But like, at this point in time, they're energetically connected to me. So of course I can intercede that way. But if I'm depressed, crying, stressed out, freaking out, zoning out into porn, drinking, I'm fucking up their energetics too.
Yes.
Like, you know, And that's what people don't get is you have the control, but it's based on the alignment, right? And so
Yeah.
I feel like in any kind of like a tense marriage, it's very the same. Like when you were telling us when you disconnected from your husband, do you find that since then you've had like way more abundance for yourself? Like I know you said he brought home a paycheck, but I'm like, what does
Yes.
that look like?
Oh yes, for sure. Because it's like it's ironic to me to think about how I was selling makeup, selling candles, selling plexus, doing all these things before my coaching business. I had no clue God was going to call me to be a coach and make money online and build this community. And so I agree with you. It was like he was waiting for me to surrender, let go, step into who he wanted me to become so he could bless me abundantly in many ways, right? Not just financially, but like with my emotional relationships, with my heart, with letting pain go out of my body, right? And so I think it is absolutely connected where it's like God does not withhold to punish, but he's our father. So he's teaching us. So he's up there going, well, I can't give you your coaching business yet, right? Like before he told me I was going to do this, I literally heard him tell me in August of 2022 is when he told me that I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to do this. But my point is, prior to that, right, I hadn't started changing until 2020. Well, he's up there knowing. Isn't this crazy when you think about it? He knows I'm going to be a coach. He knows he's calling me to that. I don't know yet. But my point is, he's being my good father by going, I can't tell you yet. I can't give that to you yet because you're not ready. You're not changing. You're still trying to change him, right? So he's up there being a good father. And that's why so many people, when they, you know how they say, well, why does this happen to me? And they're a victim. And why is it happening to me? It's like, it's happening for you. He's up there waiting for you to choose differently, waiting for you with your free agency to decide, what are you going to do in this moment? Yeah. And then when he sees you start to move, then he can open doors of abundance in so many other areas. It's all connected. Did I answer your question?
No, oh my gosh, absolutely. It's so connected. Like I feel like we could talk for hours on that. So when you say you heard God, because this is a lot of I just get into the spiritual when it comes to health. That's just me. My whole business is based in the spiritual.
I love it.
Okay, we can go there. All my clients are always trying to be like, can we just talk about the natural? Can we just talk about the throat? I'm like, nope, let's talk about the throat chakra. What are you not saying? Like, I'm just like,
yes.
And they're all like, oh, emotions again. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, you got to let it out.
I'm like emotions empowerment. But when you say you hear God, I'm just so curious because a lot of my audience and people say they can't do that, right? Or they don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. First question, what does that feel like?
Yeah.
Second question, did you realize that more once you stopped the distraction of your husband's stuff?
Bingo. You just hit the nail on the head. Because what I realized looking back I'm talking from when I was a teen, starting to really listen to the enemy all the way through 2020 when I changed. I was focused so much on the thoughts of the enemy without realizing it. And what you just said is so true. God was always trying to speak to me, but I couldn't hear him as clearly because I was hearing the voice of the enemy. You're not enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not rich enough. You're not trying hard enough. Your husband's lame because you're lame. I was too focused on the enemy's voice, right? And I literally heard the enemy all the time. But you're so right. When I started changing in 2020 and I decided I'm letting go, that makes sense that the voice of God was able to get louder. So it's not that he was never talking to me. It's not that he was never trying. He was always giving me desires, direction, blessings, dropping things here and there, trying to give me hints. But I couldn't see it or hear it because I was so focused on the enemy. And how does it feel to hear him? Because I've had people say that to me too. Well, he doesn't speak to me. And I'm like, no, he speaks to everybody. But when we're focused on a victim mindset, when we're being negative, when we're thinking, I did this. Why is everything always so bad? Why does everything happen to me? I used to say that all the time. How come everything's crappy? I guess because I had crappy parents and a crappy life. Like, you just feel sorry. You feel sorry for yourself, And so when I heard his voice, it's just a thought. Like I've always told people, obviously I'm not hearing his voice per se, but I know it's him because I'm randomly doing something. Like for instance, when he told me I was going to be coach, we're on the pier of Santa Cruz on our vacation with our family. We're walking. I'm not thinking about God. I'm looking at the seals, the otters. I'm talking to my kids and I hear a thought come across. It's just like a movie screen that goes, it sounds crazy when I say it out loud. That's how you know it's God. And he literally says, you're going to be a very in-demand, financially successful life coach.
Yeah.
I literally I look around and feel crazy because nobody heard it but me. And I'm looking around and I'm like, why did I just hear that? Why did I think? At first you think you're crazy. Why did I just think that? And then you realize I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I was present. I was with my family. I was being present. I was not, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't angry. It was like I was in the flow state, like you say, of just living my life. And God was able to just broadcast it across. And then I said it out loud to my husband, and he kind of like looks at me and goes, what? He goes, I've never heard you say you want to be a life coach. I go, I didn't know I was going to be. So my point is, and even though I had cancer in the past, that's how he told me too. He just tells me.
I cannot wait to hear this. I'm going to go into this.
He tells me things and I hear it. And people, okay, so when people say to me, well, I don't really hear it like that, or how come he doesn't speak to me like that? And I always say it has nothing to do with me being better than you or you not being good enough. It's just what you always say. If you're energetically willing, if you're looking, if you're aligned, if you're giving up control, if you're finally like, okay, God, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just going to give it to you. I feel like he can speak louder because he realizes you're not trying to grasp and like control everything.
No, that's so true. So when I have kind of done my own self-study in this into bridging the gap between how God really is the energetic and the metaphysical, because I knew that I was going to be like the direction, the healing. It was more like an embodiment of God, not a God outside of ourselves, but a God that is within us, because I kept getting this conviction that we're made in the image of God. I never understood that because I saw Jesus, this male, Middle Eastern male on a cross. Like, I'm like, that couldn't be further from looking like me. Right. So I started to strip down that idol of Jesus, not the essence of Jesus, the idol of the male version of Jesus. And this isn't me saying Jesus wasn't Jesus. I believe Jesus was a 33 life path, walked the earth, was a teacher, all that stuff. What I also believe is that so was Mary Magdalene. And that's the cover up of the church. So Mary Magdalene, and we don't have to get into that now, but I'm saying as I've done my study, when we're made, and then I started going like, okay, how are we made in the image of God? And like the first time God ever showed himself in this realm to humans as a promise of balance, like I'm not gonna, so when the earth was flooded, that was an extreme, right? Like that was not a balanced rain. That was like that wasn't a little bit of rain. That wasn't like some rain, some sun. That was like way crazy, right?
Yeah.
So the first time God ever showed himself as balance was through a rainbow. And then I started to realize, I'm like, shit, we have chakras. Okay. Like that is us. Like that is God within us. And what happens in the math, and anyone can look this up, is God has a frequency. It's 432. People call it the God frequency, the love frequency. There are several versions of that, but it's also known as the neutral, and it's actually the balance point of the body. So when all your chakras are in harmony, you're vibrating at 432 hertz. Okay. And all of your organs have a vibration that make up that number. And so because I got into frequency medicine and looking at a device all the time, I just realized like we embody God. Like our body is a soil microbiome in the gut. Like we're made, all these things that we've humanized in the Bible, like you're crafted from the dirt. True, but not also totally human. And so Genesis is very literal. Like I'm like, you're light and water. That is literally what you are. You're a giant bag of light and water encased in skin, which is just like the firmament. And so it just all clicked for me in church one day. I was like, whoa, I'm going to break apart pharmakia by bringing this one idea.
Yes, I feels. Oh my gosh.
Right. And so once women figure it out and once they stop fighting us for a place in a system that they already belong in, like my big thing was like, why do 1 in 3 women have autoimmune disease? Why the rise in infertility? Like why? And people can blame whatever they want to blame, but we're made in the image of God. And so, but a lot of us just don't get it because we've been living in a lot of generations that have downplayed that or skewed that idea. And so it's so interesting. So like, anyway, like where was I going with that? So talking about, you and your, the distraction when you heard that voice while you're with your family on the pier looking at the seals, a lot of people are trying to access that when they use homeopathy supplements. Like they're trying to like harness nature, right? It's like put some nature in so I can hear better. It's like that's the mindset. I do it with aloe beta. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that the closer we get to that, that's where we actually have the remembering. So what people notice is they're on a walk, they remember. They're driving in their car, they remember. You catch a crazy sunset, you remember. Like you're on a vacation, you're finally not distracted enough to be it, right? And it's like it's your own inner voice and God. Like people are like, I think the church has done a very good job at this separation, but the separation isn't there. And so what's interesting is and all churches, I say that, like not the church you attend, but like the biggies. Like if you had a they conspiracy of central bankers, like the they of churches, you know.
I agree.
It's like, and it is real. And so what's interesting is I'm like, oh, okay. Like that's where you get into your deepest remembering. So people who are this whole rise towards holistic health, everyone wants to remember that they want to find who they were in God and who they are. It's just so funny. So, I mean, I hope that everyone listening to this podcast is hearing like, the point is stop distracting yourself. Not forever. This isn't never watch Netflix again. This is bad. Don't go to Target. Like I got in that mindset and I'm like, and you know what was weird was it when I was in that mindset in perfectionism, I like it was like crickets. I was like, oh, I'm here. Like, where's God? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like that was force, right? That was control. Now that I'm in the mindset of like, okay, today, like I'm going to be mostly aligned and consciously aligned, but I know that it's not possible to be perfect because we had this forgiveness system that we were given. Then oh my gosh, it's like it comes so rapid and fast. Like I clearly hear God. And there's seasons where you're supposed to be hearing more, you're supposed to be hearing less. Like there's places where I'd be willing to bet and if we really drilled down on the moments or whatever, God won't give you your capacity, like your mission and stuff, until you're in a safe enough place to sustain it. That's just not how that's just how it works. So I bet you and your husband had started getting to the nitty gritty of all that before you heard that.
Yes.
I would imagine. Or y'all maybe have been having a good moment. Like God will always give us this glimpse of like for the last 6 months, I've been really feeling, I'm like, okay, like what the hell are we doing here? Like I feel I wasn't getting clients. I was like, what's going on? This is weird. And then I was like, women's health. I knew it 2 years ago, but I wanted more credential, more of a body of work in the device. I had some ideas that I thought I needed that weren't exactly true, but whatever. And I ended up out of postpartum, which took my energy. And now I'm like, oh, like now that I'm out of postpartum, I so clearly hear it. But you know what else is interesting is our timelines, like you say with your husband, we're not the only ones in the story. They have a timeline too.
Right.
And you can take that a step further. Everybody that you've ever sexually tied yourself to has a timeline as well.
Yes.
That's in your body. I mean, your situation's a little different because, I mean, I don't know if y'all have been with other partners, but y'all were met young, married, and the whole deal, right? So but for me, that was not my situation. I'm pretty open and honest about like I had a very serious relationship. I had what I would kind of pinpoint as 4 soul ties, like a very serious high school type relationship that ended, a very serious early 20s type relationship that ended, and 2 marriages now, right? And so all of like my soul ties with my ex-husband have been resolved. But you know what was interesting?
Yeah.
I had one recently resolve, and people think this is so crazy, from my significant other of 20 years ago. And this is what is so mind-blowing is because we're humans. And I said to my friend, I said, I mean, I went to sleep that night and had a dream. Like I knew that we were together. Like I was like, I talked to him. Like we spoke. Like, oh yes. Like, and I fully believe that our bodies can interdimensional.
When we're dreaming that they can connect and everything. Yeah,
totally. And so I believe that. And I was like, and what's funny is me and my husband are now in the place where we also aren't so insecure that we can't talk about that stuff. So it was so funny. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to process this, right? Like I like woke up and I was like, okay, last night I was in Michigan. this was freaking insane.
Yeah.
He was like, what?
That's so funny.
But this is how good God is. I want my audience to really understand this. So my chief complaint for 3 years, and I don't say anything on my podcast about my husband that he hasn't given me permission to say, just so y'all know. So it's not me sitting here bashing. I really energetically protect our stuff. But my biggest beef was that he stopped coming to bed. We also have 3 toddlers. So sometimes we're falling asleep in every bed and on the couch and whatever. So that's not 100% terrible, but it was stressing me out.
Yeah.
But this is what's weird. Without that happening, which in my mind was darkness, that soul tie could never have resolved because that would have been a distraction.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So one night, a couple months ago, I'm laying in bed by myself, and for once, not nursing a baby because he's barely nursing anymore, which I just think your babies don't have susceptibility to other people's soul ties when they're not with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had this crazy dream that I went to Michigan, spent the day with my ex-boyfriend, so vivid, had my 2 kids. We were there for dance. I'm like, I'm either going or was there. This is like my life, in another dimension. And in the dream, I saw, I woke up, wrote it down. I knew the color of the umbrellas. I knew the trees at the bar. I knew all this stuff. Saw a wedding transpire in the dream, told one of my friends, and a really good friend of mine, she's like, you know about soul ties. Have you looked them up? I'm like, no, it wasn't weird like that. It wasn't like, ooh, I want to look him up, and get with him. Even though me and my husband were not in this great place. Right. And she's like, well, why don't you look him up? So I ended up looking him up, and we don't follow each other on social media. There's no connection to this person anymore. Okay. So I ended up Googling his name and seeing the bar that he opened, which has the same color umbrellas, a wedding venue. I'm like, holy freaking so vivid. I have never, let me tell you the craziest part about it. All the dreams, me and my husband have been married 11 years. All of the dreams, I've never once had my husband now in a dream of mine. Never once. And I always, all the years, thought, well, that, to me, that just signifies we're not there yet. Intimately, we're not there yet. I attracted my husband before I had done all my work. I love him. We have 4 kids together. It has nothing to do with minimizing what we have built. It's just, I wanted more. I was like you. I'm like, we both have a shitload of work to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the long-term contract. And so this is just how I think about things. And I was like, okay, so this is the first dream he's ever been in. In the end of the dream, I saw this marriage and this church turned 2D, and my husband pulls up in a car and says to me, it's time to go now. And I just got in the car and left and then woke up. So
wow.
I felt like I had to cry for 3 days. I was like, I am energetically, I told my husband, I was like, I am energetically wrecked after last night. It was just this crazy situation. Ended up telling him about the dream. I looked up my ex, and he had a baby and is getting engaged. First baby. Oh. So this is why I'm obsessed with women's health. The portal of babies coming to the earth, people leaving the earth, your kids' developmental years, marriages. It is so sacred and insane.
I have chills, yeah.
I have chills right now too.
I have chills too.
Because I have not told this story publicly. It's it's so sacred and insane that we don't even get it. We if you can't come into awe and wonder in that, and when you can, you will be holy, this is life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And following that, so that was the first time that me and my current husband have been able to sort of bridge this gap and say the real deal is this isn't working. And the real deal is because I held on to a soul tie for 20 years because I lost my identity, and it was the only point of recall that my body had.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So the most myself I've ever felt was in that 20 years ago. And you look at your life and you go, wow, this is so crazy, right? This is such an interesting thing. But what I teach people in my health practice is that's how good the body is. That's how insanely good the body is. Like, because if not, you lose yourself to narcissism. You lose yourself to mold. You lose yourself to parasites. Like your body is always keeping you alive in your stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
Just from a health perspective, it's so interesting to me. Like, and when you make that choice to stay and you do it with God, like God honors that choice, but then you have to realize, like, you're not the center of the universe in the story. Like, you're always also in other people's stories.
Yes. Yeah. It's like you're playing a part in the other stories.
That's right. And you can say that with codependency, with your parents, with friendships, your kids. I mean, your kids are a given, but there's nothing like transitioning into that portal of kids being adults, right? Like, now I'm like, my mom did not do that well. And now that I'm doing it myself, I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, right? You're like, I'm going to do it a little bit different.
You're in grandparenting. Like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. Like, I'm like, that's insane.
It's such a blessing. It's so crazy. It's so weird. It's like, you feel like life is just going by too fast.
I know. How old is your oldest?
My oldest, she will be next month. She will be 31 next month.
Oh my gosh. There's just no way.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. It's so insane. And we have 2 kids left at home because 3 are adults.
Does Charlie need me?
Oh.
Sorry, Rochelle.
Oh, don't be sorry. It's okay. Oh, what happened?
That's okay. That's all right. Do you want to hang with me? You can go on my bed and watch it.
Oh.
I know, I'm talking to one of my friends.
So darling.
Isn't he so sweet? He's like, this is like mom life, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I get it.
It's so amazing. Like, he's my one that wants to be with me all day, every day. Like, he's 2.5. Yeah, 2.5. He always no, you're 3, right? I sound so bad. We have 6 kids at this point. I'm like, we have 3 under 5. So I'm like, wait, how old are you?
So 3 under 5.
3 under 5, 3 boys. Did not expect that. That was like insane. And
you are superwoman.
I mean, for lack of getting into like the hilariousness about marriages, like it's funny having kids and life in tension. Like, I used to think tension was like, oh, my destiny, but like y'all have 5 kids. I'm sure it was in tension, right? Like, you're just like, you sort of feel like what you said with your coaching clients. It's like, why me? You know? And then you look at the kids and you're like, obviously it's fine.
Yes. Yeah. They're so meant to be ours.
So meant to be ours. And the craziest thing is that they choose us. Like, they like, it's kind of like the soul level, maybe they see our chaos and they go like, I want to come anyway. Like, cool.
Yeah. It's almost like they just know, I see the weaknesses in her and it's going to help me be stronger. I'm going to her.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I'm like geeking out on the Mormon church, opting out of the last hour. Like, that's so funny. Okay. So circling back to my favorite topic, which is cancer.
Okay.
I'm like just casually dropping in. Oh, and I've had cancer a couple times. It's like, okay, cool. Let's go back to
that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And, I say it casually because it's such a blessing. And obviously I'm such a big believer in my words and my energy. So I do bring it up once in a blue moon on my feed. And actually I was getting ready to do that again this week because I know God is telling me, because I'm bragging about God because he saved me. So I want to make sure I brag about that, but I also want to make sure I don't put too much energy on it, like, because it was a trial. And I like to not make sure my energy isn't going to like, when I had it. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, it's crazy. I've
my
had
clients get really offended because I have them drop that survivor identity and they struggle to do that. Not that it wasn't an amazing part of your story, right? But tying yourself to something that was like maybe the fight of your life or you needed attention for or whatever, it's like, or it will keep you very stuck or very in doubt, right? Like tying yourself to something that the enemy did that was for your good. It's more productive to look at what happened that was good.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree.
That's why I often get crap, because I also had open heart surgery. Like, people will say, whoa, like what? Like, open heart surgery. It's like, it wasn't casual. It's like insane, you know? But I'm like, I never talk about it, because I'm like, I don't even identify as like a heart history patient or like heart disease. So like, it's not me. It's just something that happened around and on me. It's like the weirdest thing. It's just, I don't put my identity in like that time. So I totally get it.
Exactly. Same.
But what type of cancer?
So I had basal cell on my face a few times, and then Mohs surgery down my nose. Like, you can't tell because I have makeup on, but I have a straight line down my nose where they had to take it out and then pull it together. And then I had it on my cheek. I don't know if you can see it, but my cheek has a scar from here to here. And I had the best plastic surgeon. That was God, I know. When I went in there, they said to me when I walked in again, I had moments like this my whole life. They said, oh, just so you know, I don't know how you got this appointment, but you have the best plastic surgeon in this area. And you're lucky because your face is going to look great. And I'm like, wow. Again, my point is, when you have a trial, I almost felt God being like, yes, this is a trial, but I got you the best plastic surgeon. I had colon cancer. I had melanoma. And then I had cellulitis, like you would not believe, from the age of 21 until my early 40s.
Wow. Interesting.
Nurses coming to my home, being put on a fanny pack with an antibiotic. When I look back, I realize now the energy vampire of my father, that dark narcissist, was making me so sick. And then I was allowing his toxic dark energy in. And then I was taking that, projecting it onto my husband by, like you've mentioned earlier, do this, be better, lead us. And I'm trying to control. So when I look back, I realized no wonder I was sick all the time. I was letting dark entities in. I was being dark myself by trying to control and grasp and hang on. And then I was processing the past, which, you know, in scriptures, it says, do not look back. You know, you cannot obsess about the past. And I was doing that all day long, obsessing over my past. That's another thing I teach women.
Yes.
Don't stop looking back, because I made myself sick by going, if only I coulda, shoulda, woulda. And I regret, and I feel shame, and I feel guilty. The devil was thrilled. God, meanwhile, was like, can we stop getting sick and looking back and just like move forward and become who I want you to be?
Yep. Yeah. Most people don't realize. Okay, I was trained by a really renowned cancer specialist who uses no drugs whatsoever, no supplements. He cures cancer 100% on emotional resetting. He's a Christian. His name's Dr. Rankin. You guys can look him up. He's been on Wendy Meyer Detox podcast several times. He trained me, and I was his patient first. And he said to me, I've had several types of cancer as well. I've taken moles off my face. I've done thyroid stuff, like several things. And breast cysts, like you name it. So what a lot of people don't realize is, in pharma, the diagnoses have to happen because insurance companies pay based on diagnostic codes. So like, they can't let you leave there with an unknown, or they don't get paid.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah. So if you go in to get a scan and you have a fatty tissue tumor in your breast and you have really good insurance, they're going to diagnose it as something else because your insurance is what pays the hospital. Oh yeah. So super corrupt. And this is down for saying that. But yeah. And cancer is an interesting shame. It's always a shame conflict. Always. Like that's what this cancer doctor told me. He's like, so much cancer is shame. And there's different parts of the body that govern different, but the colon specifically holds on to old stories. Like, I scan up a lot for polyp stuff and all that. And, you know, I'm into coffee enemas. I'm into all the holistics now and like the ways to reset. And so it's really fascinating. A lot of people that diagnosis is what becomes our identity. We misplace our identity in that, and suddenly we're that person. We're not a child of God. We're the person with cancer, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about dark entities, like the whole of the pharmakia system is narcissistic.
Yes.
The nature of it is narcissistic. It's submit to people, let them have authority under you. It's very narcissistic in nature. It's don't ask any questions. Never say you're healed, right? Don't let anybody out there healed. Like, so what people don't realize also is, like you're saying about your dad, everything is an offer and a contract. And so you're the only person that can opt out. Like, no one can take away your sovereignty unless you allow it. And so what's interesting is that you always have sovereignty, always, but you have to choose it. Like, if you read all the healings that Jesus did, I always tell my clients first off the bat, I'm like, read every healing that Jesus did. Just go read it and like, let's have a chat about it, like session 1, because, and you know, a lot of them are like, oh, I hate Christianity, like, oh, legal. I'm like, nope, just read literally Jesus's healings. I want to show you the format. The format is like Jesus offered it. He said it was available. He didn't say, I am like gifting it to you. I'm so superior, like whatever. He didn't even say, like, touch me. Jesus never walked into a crowd and was like, here I am. Like, come on, like, get all up on me. That's just not what happened. He literally just taught that it was available. And then the person had to go live their life in the healing. Like, like, okay, pick up your mat and walk. And the guy had to do it. Like, so that's what people don't realize. So the narcissist, like, Satan is always so close to the truth because he was with God. He knows the truth. It's like that was in heaven before it. Like, he was at the right hand of God, actually, like over the music ministry. So it's like, he will take the truth and be like, this is super close, right? This is very close to the truth. But the truth is that it's not like I can impart the healing to you. It's like I can open a pathway and you've got to step into the pathway, right?
Yep.
Just like a marriage or whatever. Like, you took the vows, you entered the contract, or, you know, a divorce. It's like one of you can open a divorce, the other one has to sign the papers. You know, it's like, if you just basic it down to legalese or law. And so what's so fascinating about health, and that is amazing, is and also in these relationships with narcissists, is they're energetic parasites. Like you said, they're taking from you. You're always in a situation where you're stressed about what you're not doing enough of, or what, you know, what you could do better, or, you know, you're in chaos, or you're out of your abundance. Like, if you've got like an addict parent that is constantly like calling you and your nervous system stressed out, you know what I mean? It's so stressful. And a lot of times when women put that boundary down is when they hit the healing crisis. They hit the cancer, they hit the autoimmune, or they hit the whatever. But it's because the body's finally safe enough to tackle the trauma, which is really insane. Insanely misunderstood. But I think that's so cool. That's amazing. And do you as a that's being a lot. Do you as a former person who had cancer diagnosis, you go for pre-screenings and all that? Like, are you still in that system?
The only thing I do is go twice a year to the dermatologist, because I have hundreds and hundreds of moles. You couldn't count them. My whole body, head to toe. I'm extremely normally naturally butt white. I wear fake tanner all the time. So I have the palest, whitest skin. I have hundreds of moles. So I go twice a year, and they just do, you know, they just feel all over me and my lengths and everything. And then they scan me head to toe completely naked. And I still have had, in the last few years since I've had it, they'll take moles off that were like atypical, where they might've been changing, but they're totally fine. And they just said to me this year when I went in the summer, she's like, it's been almost 6 years. And if you're clear again at this appointment, she's like, we can just go down to 1 time a year. And I'm like, yay. But the colonoscopy thing, I forgot to go, and I haven't gone for the last 2 years. And I just got a message from my doctor saying, this is like your 3rd year, like you're behind, you're supposed to get your colonoscopy. And I was telling them, and you know, I struggle with that, I admit, because I don't want to disrespect there can be good preventative things in certain areas, can be for certain people. So sometimes I struggle with, God, should I not ignore that? And should I just go get the colonoscopy, even though I feel like I'm fine and I feel like I don't need it? But should I not disrespect the opportunity, the access, and just go get it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense.
I do. I do in a system that's been so curated to where it's the only way, fully understand. Like, I'm like, it's so interesting. Like, I personally don't do colonoscopies, but if I was going to pre-screen, I would use like a bioresonance scan, which is what I own and do. Because that can scan your whole body for like everything, and also the tendencies toward like what's actually in your biofield before it comes into your body. And so it's interesting because with lab work, and I'm counting colonoscopies, mammograms, all that stuff, what people don't understand is with any lab testing, and let me tell you, I have had 15 years of the entire, I mean, as many interventions as anyone can think of. So this isn't me sitting here on my high horse about being holistic. This is like, if I've had it, like I've had contrast IVs, I've lived in ERs, like I've had CT scan, you know, like whatever. And I don't do any cancer pre-screenings, but because now I understand how lab work works, that really is a snapshot of that day. And the problem is that on that day, there's a diagnosis usually made, and there's not enough data points to actually have the truth. So, from a marketing standpoint, and not that I'm advocating for someone getting 5 colonoscopies, okay, they're miserable, they suck, and they're disruptive. But if you were going to do colonoscopy route, a more accurate picture of what the body would be doing would be to get one 3 times a year, like to at least have, or one quarterly, because one data point on a day in a body that is self-correcting in every millisecond without your thoughts. Like you don't even have to tell yourself to breathe, exist, your heart to beat. You don't tell yourself to do any of that.
Right.
And then think about what all the gut microbiome is doing. You don't tell, like, I'm not sitting here like, okay, lactobacillus syphilis, like kick in right now. Like that. No. Like,
exactly.
Like it's so funny because it's just that doubt, though. It's that doubt. And I always call it like this exaltation above God, but I don't mean that in a way of like, you're not faithful enough. I just mean like, it's our doubt, you know, like it's our, and that comes with process. That isn't like, oh my God, if you're not here today, like you're like, I admit I struggle with that. It's like, me too. I've been in the factor of where I'm like, I'm seeing my heart doctor every year, right? Like now, 8 years post pacemaker journey, I don't even remote transmit to the facility anymore. Like I just like have like my pacemaker is programmed and it's not beating my heart. It's not pacing 100% of the time, and it's not remote transmitting any reporting. So my doctor's always calling me like, well, we have no reporting, so we hope you're good. I'm like, I'm good. Like intuitively, I feel great. So so I do think that just comes with time, like those layers, you know, of whatever. I find that really interesting. But yeah, the whole concept of pre-screenings is, it's a way to catch stuff. Yes, but it's based on like average ages where things show up. And so actually this is something that I have never talked about online yet, but it's weird. I've heard myself mention it like 10 times in the last week. And I'm like, probably should put some content out there about this. Like we have 3 epics of life. So we have like, just like the Holy Trinity, which I believe is more like father, mother, child, not male, 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 but that's just me. Like we have the Holy Trinity. We have the concept of the 3 God, the 3 in 1 God. We have 3 epics of life. So we have birth through 30, which is child, 30 through 60, which is the masculine, and 60 through 90, which is the nurture that you go into. So the feminine. So our 3 epics of life. It's interesting that we have childhood vaccinations at birth, which is massive intervention. Pre-screenings need to start at menopause, which is another massive intervention. And then we have end of life care, which is like your last one. And so those are all transitions that are by design. One is like you're childlike. The next one is you're in childbearing. So you're productive and that's what your focus is. The next one is you're about yourself. And those are give or take 10, 20 years, like depending on where you fall. Like I'm saying, if you live to be 120, you stretch those out, right? Like it's give or take, but you can kind of picture your life in a number line of 3 sections. And in those sections is where we hit very natural transitions. Like, you know, I mean, you're not really having babies at 15. You know, I mean, some people are, but I'm saying that you hit a natural point where God says like, okay, this is the time for this, right? Like you're in your family years. And then you hit a natural point where you transition out of that.
Yeah.
In the transition out, which is where you see like your cancer, hormone issues, autoimmune stuff pop up. And in the transition in with pregnancy and infertility and blah, blah, blah. You see that because it requires a new version of yourself that you don't yet recognize.
Right.
So you have this opportunity for reconciliation, like right there. So that's why the body does that, in my opinion. Like the body, based on what I know about German new medicine and health and just what I've studied and how like our cyclical nature works. It's like that stuff does show up because we got to find a new version of ourselves. And you're always finding versions of yourselves throughout your life, but those are like the biggies. It's like, who am I without my kids now? Like, who am I without my parents now, right? Like, who am I with my own generation? And all of it is like, in my opinion, this opportunity to look at generational sin. And that's why you see sickness, because I think sickness is generational sin. That's my thought process.
Absolutely. It's such a, it's like the generational curses being passed down. And then for me, I'm the one in my family breaking it. I'm literally the one.
Totally. Yeah. Yes. And like what feels like so finite that pharma has made to be like, this is the death sentence. Like when I heard like heart disease, I was like, that's it. Like that's the one. Like cancer is very similar. Infertility is very similar. There's a couple biggies like that I say, like pharma just like blows up. Like that's the end of your life, like you're screwed. It's funny how those of us that are in these like narcissistic family lines get into those because and every woman I know, if I could like say their names, everyone I know that's been in an abusive relationship, cancer, almost all, like almost every woman I know, or infertility or heart disease. It's like brokenheartedness, kids, and body stress. It's like it's so textbook that people just don't see the data points like that, but it's so fascinating. I've got friends that are like battling cancer, or they have something show up or whatever, like basically my whole client list. And I just think that's so fascinating. So we need to be looking a lot more at the work that you do, like how to exist without the energetic parasites. Like in the tangible, and it's not going to be done if you do like a parasite cleanse and stay the same in your marriage, right? Like that's just not going to work.
Exactly. And it all comes down to the core of, I'll have women say, okay, so if I'm setting the boundaries and if I'm working out and I'm making my bed and I'm praying and I'm doing all these things and I'm going out with my girlfriends and I have my own life. But when I get home, I still feel I'm walking on eggshells and they're like, I'm still tiptoeing and then he's still doing his thing. It's exactly what you just said. So you're still living in the toxicity because you might have created a life for yourself outside of him, which is awesome, but you're still energetically starving and searching for his approval. You're still energetically like reaching, like, see me, like me, don't be mad at me, don't disappoint me and all that. And what's so crazy is that the way you say it's all connected to the narcissism and the dark energy. I had 4 healthy pregnancies, no complications. I go to deliver my 5th child. I have to deliver her a month early. It was an emergency. I had severe preeclampsia out of nowhere. We both know that was emotions.
Liver, for sure.
So go in and the doctors are like in shock. It's an emergency. They can't get my blood pressure down. Again, I hate even talking about that because it was such a traumatic experience. Every medicine. My hands are sweaty talking about it.
It's hard.
I had them surrounded by me, like 3 on each side. They were giving up, kind of. It had been 6 hours of trying to get my blood pressure down. And they were kind of looking at me like, they weren't saying life and death, but they were like, we're to the point now where your baby's life is second to us. They were telling me that. We're now going to focus on, we got to save you. So they were trying to let me know your baby has to get out of there, but we're not going to because we have to save you first. And of course, that was another moment in my life where you can say God was testing me, or I was, being challenged, where I had to go in so deep to inner peace and faith to say to myself, I trust everything's happening for me. I trust that it's going to work out. He's going to save me. I don't know how it's going to happen. My body was shaking and convulsing. The whole entire table was shaking. They were almost holding my arms down because it was like, it was insane. I could hear my heart beating. Meanwhile, my husband, who's checked emotionally F out, is watching the game, dead serious, eating Mexican food on the right because he hadn't done shit right yet. And I remember thinking in my mind, it was like if you could just see the whole picture. I'm surrounded by doctors. I'm sick. My entire body's convulsing. They can't deliver the baby yet. I look over and I see my husband. It's a spiritual lesson. I look over and see my husband. And now looking back, I can see that whole painted picture was God going, are you going to choose yourself? Like, you're still looking over there. Does he see me? Is he
yes. Yeah.
Does he want to come help me? And there was a part of me that inside, because I couldn't express anger because I was trying to stay calm. I was angry. And no wonder they couldn't get the blood pressure down. I was
Right.
angry. I didn't say it, but inside I was thinking, how dare he not care about me? I'm the mother of his children. How dare he eat Mexican food and watch the game while doctors are literally saying, going, we need you to sign for an emergency C-section. We're not sure what we're going to have to do. I'm signing papers. I'm shaking. He's just, of course, was he kind of worried, but he was just so emotionally checked out with no empathy. But my point is, what a lesson, right? Of God saying, are you going to tap into me? You're still looking for him. So it's almost like, it sounds so dumb and crazy, but it's almost like God made him like not care, like not even check in with me, so I could go back into my power and be like, I don't need him to care. I need to care about me.
Yes. And during a birth, like that's what I'm saying about that birth portal. I'm like, people do not even realize that's why I'm becoming a midwife. Cannot wait.
Are you? Oh, I could see you doing that. I could see you doing that. Oh, that's amazing.
I am. I'm becoming a midwife. I'm starting training in March. Like, honestly, funny that you were saying that about the seals. Or where do you live at?
I'm in California. I'm in Northern California, but we always go to Southern California to stay on the beach.
Okay, stop. I'm trying to move to Northern California, so stop.
What?
So, okay, so I get my best revelations in California.
Shut your mouth.
No, so my daughter is a competitive dancer. She's 10, and she got we're just life is just God is just insane. Like,
yes,
it's like you're doing your healing through your kids. It's so multi-layered, like it's so multi-freaking layered. And she dances for an organization that's based out of LA. So we live in Missouri, and she tours with a big team that's based out of LA. And it's like so amazing. So this year I've had the opportunity to be in California like 4 times for a dance. And so we're like all over the country. Yes. It's just so much fun. I mean, she actually just won like another huge scholarship to do that as well for 2 years. And so I'm like, let's go. So, but funny you should say that. Timing and portals and contracts, like you cannot even make this stuff up. You cannot even orchestrate your life as good as God can orchestrate it, like genuinely speaking. So I was out in California in when were we December. So I was in Burbank. We're always out in Burbank, and it's like my favorite place in the world, but I want to live north of LA, like probably between Sacramento and LA, like somewhere like that area. And
I'm like 20 minutes from Sacramento.
Okay, so literally right where I want to live. And I have so many clients from there now. My husband's like, oh, like my husband's from New Zealand. So California is like just identical to New Zealand. Like the climate is like identical.
Oh, okay.
But speaking of judgment, sitting in Missouri and all these places, you think like, oh God, the politics in California are so bad, blah, blah, blah. Well, because we've learned like so much about natural law and sovereignty and all that, like none of that even matters to us anymore. So I'm like, bottom line, if my daughter wants to have opportunity, we need to be in California. Now we have like this beautiful excuse to be there. Also, I love to travel. I want to be by the water. I want to be in the climate and the lifestyle. And it's just so funny. I was in Burbank in December, and I told my husband, I said, like, he's like, did you take your kids with you so that you would come back? Like, yeah, you know me so well. Like,
that's so funny.
Yeah, he's like, I was like, genuinely speaking, I could like get an apartment here tomorrow. Like that's the kind of like place that we were in. Wow. And he is like, I obviously don't want that. Like, so he's like, I obviously want like to be with you if whatever. I don't want it to be like that. And I was like, no, yeah, I know. And so we've been having that chat, but it's funny. The more that I have gotten out of the way and he's learned, the more God has orchestrated the realities of where we need to be, from everything from the timing of custody agreements to this and that. Like sometimes when you're in something, like you're in the throes of something, you're like, you start this never train. I feel like you talked about that with like the voice of the enemy. Like you're like, this is just never ending, And even though that's sort of a reality, it's also a void of God thought process. So I remember thinking like when my kids were 2 and 4, like, well, fuck, like I hate Missouri. I already have learned the lessons here and I don't want to live here. Like for sure don't want to live here for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like 20 years felt like insanity to me, you know? And then out of the years, my daughter's almost 17. Like, I'm like, one day you wake up and you're like, whoa, like there's the years, like they're gone, you know, like here they are.
It's crazy.
And I remember deciding when she was like 6, 7, about the time when I met my husband, like, is this the mindset that I want to wake up with every day? Like, did God really send us here to like just be pissed off and go back? Like, to me, that sounds so bad, you know? Like,
right.
And you talk about journeys through stuff like cancer and all that. Like, it's funny, the nuance of teaching about how to opt out of pharma while also allowing the flow state. So when we were talking about pre-screenings, all that, I'll just circle back to that. Like, God decides the timing and you're here to show up in the timing. So over the last summer, I was pregnant with my 6th baby, our last baby. And I was like so pissed. Like, I was like, I know, like, head knowledge, I know I'm not dependent on my pacemaker anymore. I totally have gone through this journey. Like, I was mad that we got all the way into another pregnancy and I still hadn't resolved that. Like, I was like, why have I not been able to resolve this? Like, I was all like down on myself. And it was so funny because I'm sitting here thinking, fighting like the replacement, trying to make it all chaotic, but it was going very smooth. It was like, okay, listen, the battery's going to run out. You've had 2 additional years. We cannot reprogram your pacemaker unless we put another one in. Like, that's just how pacemakers work. Like, I was like, well, what if we just reprogram it to where it doesn't pace me 100% of the time? And they're like, we still need one that's not faulty. Like, that's the thought process, right?
Yeah.
Which I somewhat agreed with. I was like, okay, that's fair. Like, all right. So I ended up deciding through multiple opt-outs and stuff to get the pacemaker. Didn't go under general anesthesia, like did a lot and chose myself and my baby, like what you're talking about. And what was interesting is, while at the same time finally thinking like, all right, if we're here with a pacemaker replacement, there must be a reason. You know what I mean? Like God must not be done with this shit yet. You know, like,
yes, exactly.
And so I just kind of got to that place of like, cool, I'm going to allow it. And then afterwards, I developed like this insane muscle twitch by the pacemaker. So my first initial thought was like, well, see, like I knew, like blah, blah, blah. And so then I'm like still praying to God. I'm like, okay, like maybe I don't know best. Like maybe let's just figure this out. Like call the doctor, checked out everything. Nothing was wrong. And I'm like, okay, this is just textbook. Like I know I don't need this, but like I still have it. So let's just talk. We'll just figure that out.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, the month after I got the pacemaker surgery, my ex-husband served me with papers, took me to court for the first time in 10 years to try to get full custody of my kids. Thought he had a massive argument up his sleeve.
Wow.
Of years of documentation. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what's the argument they're going to go in with? Because you have to have real tangibles for like DFS and chaos that he had caused over the years. Like, I'm like, you got to have tangibles.
Yeah.
And they went in with the argument that I was medically endangering my kids potentially, that I didn't believe in doctors. And let me tell you, what do you think saved the day in that courtroom? The pacemaker.
And God knew you needed to have that to be your, oh my God.
So I represented myself in court, and so I got to question my ex and do all the cross-examining and all that stuff, and got really convicted not to get an attorney, not to give away my power like that. You know, talk about codependency, just was real convicted in that journey. Yeah. And it was so funny because we got into the line of questioning, and it like hit me like a ton of bricks during court. You know, in a courtroom, you can't have your phone, you can't have your stuff, you can't have your security blanket. Like, people don't realize how you go into this ecosystem that is closed down to all of your comfort by design. Like, that's the design of law, which is honestly fine, but very scary. So you realize you're like, oh my God, like all I've got is like myself, my piece of paper, and maybe like a crystal in my pocket. Like, this is insane.
Yes.
You can't do anything in there. Like, and it's like armed guards and a judge, and everybody's like really like, you know, it's like there's a way of proceeding. Like, I respect it all, but like I just was like, it was not lost on me how you quite literally enter a different world, which is kind of what happens when you enter an OR or whatever. Like, you go into someone else's turf of expertise.
Yes.
And a friend of mine had told me about this scripture, something about when they deliver you up to the courts, like just rely on Jesus in the moment, like don't prepare and all this stuff. Cause like my whole entire life I had been like, if I'm prepared, I'm good. Like if I've done all the research and I've done this.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really do that. And I was like, all right, well, so literally just even sitting there, not knowing their line of questioning, I was like, all right, well, okay, Holy Spirit, like we'll see what happens.
Here I am. Let's roll with the punches.
And yeah, because you don't get like the preview of what they're going to argue in court. Like that'd be nice. That's just not what happens.
Yeah.
And so, quite literally speaking, that was like their big guns blazing thing. And I was like, oh man, like this is such a conviction.
It was a blessing, right?
Trusting timing in like, what the Holy Spirit does, like how much more God can orchestrate on our behalf. And I say that in California reminded me because turns out like even that timing is orchestrated because that custody agreement is changing. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying I won, I didn't, like I'm not claiming that. I'm saying that the nature of my kids growing up in that is coming to a close. So we're almost done. And so it's quite also ironic that I could have pushed my 6-year-old to move to California. I could have created chaos. I could have left my kids. Like there's a lot of chaos someone can cause. Yeah. But when you're in that real flow state, you trust the timing.
Right.
And so like, I feel like you talking about living in the present with your husband and like, it definitely encourages me, like living in the present with my husband and just like, you finally find somebody you're like, they're doing it too. They get it. It's like, it'll work,
Yeah, exactly.
But what you said before we wrap up about if it doesn't work, you're still going to be okay.
Yes.
That was the main idea that my naturopath really drilled into my head. He's like, if he leaves, you can't die. Yeah. Like he was like, what's wrong with you? Like if he leaves, you're not, because that was my honest thought. I'm like, this person is sustaining me, but in a toxic way. Like, how do we sustain each other in a healthy way? Like, how do we, how am I okay if you leave? Because the reality is that could happen.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And it's like, that's why the codependency is so dysfunctional because he's your security blanket. And then it's like, that's what I was doing. I was like, well, even though I don't even really like him most of the time because he's so miserable and rude, I don't know who I am without him. And there lies in the problem. Who am I without him? Are you kidding me? I'm a daughter of God. I'm this, my spirit, not my body, like we were saying earlier. It's like that creation God made me has nothing to do with him.
I know you're not even a good blanket. You're like shitty. you're like from Shein.
Yeah. I'm like, why do I even want that blanket? I can't let go of it and I don't even want it. What's happening?
That's hilarious. You're like, all right, now I'm going to deliver myself Anthropology, not Shein. It's like so funny.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm like. I always say this stuff from a place. I love my husband. He has so many good attributes, which is like why I stay. Like sometimes you look at something and like the biggies between you, you're like, all right, like, is there a willingness from two people? That's such a beautiful thing. Like when it transpires like that, that's amazing.
It is.
And like in that process of the journey is a beautiful thing. Like being able to hold it, like you hold it. I was just like super inspired. I'm like, oh my gosh, being able to hold this like in the messy middle is what a lot of people want to skip, especially in the line of work that I do. They want either to zone out or biohack or freak out. And it's like none of those solutions present a sustainable outcome.
Right. Exactly. In your work and mine, people want to go from A to Z and they want us like skip the middle and you're going, you're going to have to like, you might even have to drag yourself through it at times, but you got to do it.
Yeah. And then you're going to hit a good stride. And then suddenly on the way to a road trip, something's going to piss you off. And then you got to practice what you preach.
Yes. It's a roller coaster the whole time. It's test. Yes. It's like, okay, it's getting better. Wait, you're getting tested. Okay. It's getting better. You're getting tested.
Yeah. And I think totally just flipping your brain into that kind of richness is exciting when you grew up in chaos where that was just crazy, Like, I mean, I always described my childhood as like, my mom was kind of like a tornado, like something that came on real fast, fucked everything up, you survived, and then suddenly the sun was out again, It's like, that's what her entity, like I would have a dream about a tornado as a 5-year-old and that her entity like reminded me of that. Like it was like, that was how freaky it was. And I'm like, Okay, so like, but yeah, you realize like I did survive though. You know,
Yes,
you're like,
exactly. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
yeah, and you're like, oh, that gave me a lot of like discernment. Like that gave me the ability to ask questions. Like that refined skill sets that really give me an edge now. So it was
Yep,
fine.
exactly. It made you who you are and be able to carry on your work.
Yes. So, okay, if people want to work with you, is the best place to find you on Instagram right now?
Yeah,
And then I'll
yeah,
put your
yeah.
website and all that.
Yep, Instagram is my main place. I'm obviously on other things. Like I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok and other things, but most people
Oh,
find me
cool.
on Instagram.
Okay, sweet. And so you have your stand store and your all that, and they can work
Yep,
and apply to
yep,
work with you. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Link
That
in
is
the
so fun. All right. Well, anything else you want to add before we get off?
And no, I just thank you so much. This was so great. I loved it. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for reaching out and asking me. And the similarities are just profound. And I just think it's awesome that women like you and I are taking our pain and turning it into purpose and not afraid to like speak out and say what we feel and believe and think and know, not just believe, but what we know.
Yes, what you just embody and know so deeply. I told my husband that literally today. I was like, I know it must be crazy to like be in my vibration because for me, there's no, it will happen. It's already done. Like for me, it's like, even if it tangibly doesn't make sense, like if the bank account's overdrawn, we still have the abundance. Like he is like trying to bridge the gap in his mind about like
Yeah.
some of that. You know what I mean? Like working in the unseen. But
Yes.
it's like the abundance never leaves the room, you know,
Yeah.
like you just have to get out whatever is blocking the abundance. Like
Yes, exactly.
you'll have to shoot me the town that you guys exactly live in privately because I'm gonna be looking at real estate.
Okay. Okay. I'll tell you. It's so awesome. I love it.
Are you inland or toward the coast? Like I won't ask the town, but you can
Oh
probably
yeah, oh yeah, no, I'm about probably, gosh, I'm like 4 hours away from the ocean.
oh,
Well,
so you're
3.5.
inland.
I'm about 3.5, and then I'm about like an hour and 20 minutes from Tahoe. Like,
Okay. I wonder if they're like literally in the same town as one of my clients. Like I'm like, you're probably like right where I'm looking. It's funny though. This is two people. Like I'm like, I told him, I'm like, babe, I already have friends. Like, let's
yes,
go.
me? It's meant to be. It's a sign.
Yeah, no, that timing will be so perfect when it presents itself. I'm like, you know, with because I would never move my kids away from my ex ever. I would never move them if they didn't want to move. Like that's part of the sacrifice when you talk about being a mom, right? It's like and just being a person. I think a little bit of that is healthy. But yeah, it's been really fun to be able to come out there and after touring the country with my daughter and getting a lot of I've always been in and around the country. Like I grew up here, grew up in Mississippi, but toured like around and went on vacations and stuff. It was really cool to kind of like feel okay, like this is the next step. Like I was like, and that you talk about that voice of God, like what baby? Okay. Like I was walking in Burbank and just audibly was like, this is it. Like I knew it wasn't LA, but it was like, why haven't you looked at California? So,
Yes, like you could just feel that you're supposed to be in California. That's awesome.
yes. And like it's funny because trying to make my life harder by thinking it was Florida when my little girl wants to be a dancer doesn't make any sense.
Yes, right?
But I will let you go because I have a little one that's potty trained.
Okay.
But this was so good. I'll send you the link and you all can find Rochelle there and in the show notes. It'll be so fun.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.